Hello, and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kate Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the astrology of July 19th through July 25th. And I know I say it every single time, but I always mean it. Oh, what a week it is. And before I even get into it, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for leaving 5-star ratings, for sharing, for telling other people about the podcast. Thank you especially for posting it on your own social media. And yeah, just thank you. And now we got a big old giant week ahead of us. Let's get into it. As usual, I am going to go through and just give you the highlights of what's going on this week. Y'all, Mercury turns direct. But what I'm going to be focusing on are two aspects that Jupiter, the greater benefic, the bringer of luck, the expander, all of that kind of stuff, two aspects that he's making on the 20th. So get ready for lots of wonderful blessings to flow. We'll get into that. Here's what's going on this week, though, just to give you the overview. And I am going to do the sign by sign. So listen through to the end and listen for your sign. All right. On July 19th, we've got Mars making a sextile to Saturn. Now, y'all, that a sextile is a good angle. It's an angle of opportunity. It's positive. Mars and Saturn are the lesser and greater malefics. So normally when they're speaking to each other, we're not thinking like such good things, but this sextile is going to give us the opportunity to bring new spark, new flame, new energy to some long-standing project or issue that we've been dealing with. It's going to give us that drive we need to start a long-term project, and it's going to bring some kind of new energy to really building our foundation in some area of our life. Then on the 20th, the two aspects that I'm going to be talking about, so I'm only going to tell you what they are. I'll go into them in just a bit. We've got Jupiter in Leo making a trine, that's the most positive aspect, to Neptune in Aries. Now, you know I don't usually like Neptune, you know I don't, but when he's in trine with the greater benefic, we got some good stuff coming our way. On the same day, Jupiter is opposing Pluto. All right, Pluto, god of the underworld, power, deep transformation, all of that. But think power, okay? We're going to talk about it. This is an opposition. On the 21st, we've got Jupiter sextiling Uranus. That's going to be just unexpected stuff going on, right? Some things may be presenting themselves as bigger, right? How can I expand this thing? How can I expand this project, this idea, whatever it is? I didn't even know this opportunity was going to arise, and poof, Uranus, there it is. On the 24th, we've got Venus sextiling Mercury. That's going to be like love letters, right? Mercury, the communicator. And on that day, Mercury will be direct. He will just have turned direct too. So that's important to keep in mind. And Venus, love, relationships, all of that. So finally, free-flowing, positive communication in relationship areas. Remember, that's any kind of relationship. Then on the 24th, we've got Pluto in Aquarius, sextiling Neptune in Aries. And I really think that's going to be about standing in our spiritual and creative power. There will be that opportunity. Okay. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is that on the 22nd, we officially enter Leo season. The sun moves into rulership, into his own kingdom in Leo. And this is when we get summer vibes, right? And what that means to us all is standing in the spotlight, becoming visible, seeing clearly, all of that. So keep in mind, while this is going on, from the 22nd, we're going to have that visibility. And not only is it our visibility, like we can see clearly what we're doing, but also others can see us. Jupiter's going to be in that same sign house, right? Which this is the star maker, you all. I've been talking about this a lot. Jupiter and the sun. Jupiter is luck, expansion, things going your way. And the sun is fame, the spotlight, being seen and recognized. This is a really good week. I'm really excited about it. Now, you got to look at your own chart. People tell me all the time, like, you said it was going to be a good week, and then it was this terrible week. And it's like, well, it depends on where this is hitting you. If you've got, like, say, one of the malefic planets in Leo, and that more difficult energy is having the light shine on it and having it expanded, that could end up not being great for you. Okay, so it's really important, y'all, if you do nothing else, have one reading with somebody good. I happen to know a person who's pretty good. That would be me. I'm glad to do a reading with you. But have somebody read your chart and help you really get into it and understand it. Because then when you hear the astrology, you're better equipped to kind of process how it's going to hit you. All right. So I hope that's helpful. Anyway, let's get into it. So here's the general information that's going to be kind of the energy of the week that's going to apply to all of us. On the 20th, now this is all week, but it's the 20th where this is going to be exact. So most targeted energy, if that makes sense. Jupiter in Leo is going to trine Neptune in Aries. Let's start with that one, because the other thing happening the same day, Jupiter in Leo is going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius. But let's start with Jupiter and Neptune. So what is that? You know I don't like Neptune. But in this case, with Jupiter, the greater benefic, we're going to get the good side of Neptune. What is Neptune? He's spirituality and creativity and art, all that kind of stuff. Remember, y'all, when I'm talking about creativity, don't feel like you're left out if you're not a writer or an artist or an actress or something like that. Creativity is even living creatively, doing what you do in the world every day from a creative spirit of wonder and exploration. Okay, so that's what this is really about. Jupiter is the great expander. He makes things bigger. He's blessings. He's good luck and good fortune. And so for any artist and writers and legit, that kind of creative person, get ready to download, get ready for inspiration, get ready for big ideas, for big projects. But this is real creative inspiration. If you're one of those other people that I was talking about where we're looking at living creatively, get ready to just find the wonder in the world all around you. Get ready to open your eyes and embrace in a bigger way and see opportunities. Jupiter brings opportunities to just live with more childlike wonder in your life. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. The other thing that Neptune is spirituality and dissolving boundaries, right? Neptune is the ocean. There are no walls in the ocean. So get ready to deepen your spiritual connections, your psychic abilities, your intuition, whatever spirituality is for you. This week, we're going to feel more connected to it, but more than that, we're going to feel divinely inspired. Okay, so super amazingly good. Now, here's the weird thing that gets thrown in the mix. That same blessed, expansive Jupiter is opposing Pluto, god of the underworld, who's all about power. So somehow, some way, we've got to tie these storylines together, yeah? So we're going to be having this spiritual awakening and spiritual deepening. We're going to have creative inspiration and all of that. But you might find that there's someone or some system in your life that's going to oppose you. You know how sometimes when you really, you've got the big idea, you've got the big energy, you're on fire, you're jazzed, you're ready to go with something. You know how sometimes there's someone in your life that's threatened by that? That's like the naysayer or you've got this big idea about your artist, but you're not even a real artist. You need to pay your dues first, that kind of thing. Yeah, you could be facing that, or because you're getting bigger, you may find that someone who's always felt sort of like they have power over you a little bit, like they have the power benefit in the relationship, that they may be opposing you in some way because your growth makes them feel diminished. Okay? But you will win, I promise you, because Jupiter's involved, and Jupiter is still the greater benefic. And here's the thing, Pluto's also about transformation. So you pursue your art, your sense of wonder, your joy in life, your spirituality. You grow, you be your biggest, most dynamic self, and you will go through deep personal transformation. But you're going to have to grapple with standing in your own power, having the courage, standing in your power and say, I'm an artist, I'm going to do this project, or I'm going to live in this more creative way, or I'm going to bring more spirituality into my life. And you may have to have some courage to do that. But in standing in that power and in your right to be all that, you will transform, and it will be deep, and it will be beautiful. Okay? Then remember, just 2 days later, the sun goes into Leo, and this is really star maker energy. Okay? So get that art project, life enhancing energy, whatever it is for you, get it going, and you will see clearly and you will be seen. All right, let's get into a quick sign by sign. Okay, so a couple of things before I do this. I'm going to really focus on Leo, where Jupiter is, okay? Because that's where the blessings are coming from. That's where the expansion is coming from. But you really need to apply this week's energy to your Leo. That's Jupiter, Aries, that's Neptune, and Pluto, that's in Aquarius. So yeah, you've got to put this whole picture together, but I'm going to focus on Leo. And one of the reasons I'm going to do that is because the sun is going to move into that house, and that's where visibility is going to come from. That's where the light is going to shine. All right. Let me remind you, listen for your rising sun. I don't care what anybody tells you. That's who you are. After that, or if you don't know your rising sign, listen to your sun sign if you're born during the day, your moon sign if you're born at night. And for the most comprehensive understanding of the energy, listen to all three. And let's jump in with Aries. Aries, Jupiter is in your fifth house of creativity. And Neptune, that creative soul, that creative drive or spiritual soul, that's in your first house of you. So you are really playing this thing out like squared, cubed, double time, however you want to think of that, right? So the fifth house is creativity. So we're talking about you stepping into a creative period. And again, living with wonder, making actual art, whatever that means for you. But this is just really straightforward. Could also, again, be your spirituality. But if it plays out that way for you, it's still going to have something to do with getting more creative, playful, joyful about your spirituality. This is just truly brilliant. Taurus, Jupiter is in your fourth house of home and family. So we are looking at blessings coming from the home environment. Neptune is over in the 12th house of work behind the scenes, okay? So put those together and I see you working on your spirituality, your meditation practice, your yoga. All of that stuff falls into the 12th house, by the way. But also working on your art in your home art studio or whatever that is. Also getting support from family, but also bringing blessings somehow to the family as well. So this could even be you and family members doing some kind of spiritual or creative project together. I don't know what it is, but it is very cool. I like it a lot. All right, Gemini, Jupiter is in your third house of communication and local community. So if you are writing, if you are blogging, doing a podcast, doing a YouTube, any of the stuff that involves communication, oh boy, howdy, right? This is definitely going to show just blessings coming in that area, but also just how we communicate in the world, right? So, and Neptune's over in your house of friends, your tribe, group of identity, that sort of thing. And so how you're talking to people, how you're communicating about just the joy of life and wonder, spirituality, your art. So you might find that either you're doing some kind of communication thing or creative thing with your friends, or you might find that you're getting your art, your creative statement, whatever your message is, out into the public. Does that make sense? I know that was a lot. But anyway, that's what I'm seeing for you, and I love it a lot. This whole thing is just so good. All right. Cancer, this is happening in your second house of money. That Neptune creativity thing is in your 10th house of career, right? So this is money expanding. So this is getting creative, aligning your creative energy with your job, stepping into that more creative way of doing your work, bringing creative inspiration to your work, and your money will grow. Jupiter makes things get bigger. So step into that creativity in your workplace. Love that. I wish I could have that one. Can I have that one? I could use that right now. Anywho, Leo, Jupiter is in you. This is personal blessings, right? Neptune is over in the 9th house of publication, spirituality, higher education. So I don't know what all this means for you, but I am really thinking that for you, this is going to either have to do literally with making your voice heard out in the public. So like publishing books, publishing a podcast, publishing whatever it is that you want to publish. It could also, because it's higher education, you may be putting a webinar or something together that you want to launch and get onto the internet. But this is a very spiritual configuration. Neptune in the 9th house, I'm really thinking that you Leos are going to be going through spiritual growth. That's what I think this is going to be for you. Now, it doesn't mean you're not also bringing in the wonder and all of that kind of stuff, but to your spiritual life. I expect also to enhance and expand your psychic awareness, that intuitive stuff. Oh yeah, you go. Witchy woman. That needs to be, and even if you're a dude, you could be like witchy dude, except you don't get a song. Anywho, Virgo, Jupiter is in your 12th house of behind the scenes. This is really about alone time, going internal and really expanding your inner sense, right? Your own deep knowledge of your spiritual self, your spiritual beliefs, your creative inspiration. But this is really a psychic kind of thing because 12th house is alone. It's the quiet time. You may be getting psychic messages through dreams. Let me tell you that right now. Neptune's over in your 8th house, which is very witchy. Could also be joint finances. So doing something behind the scenes that plays out in how you invest your money and stuff like that. It could be, but that's not what I'm seeing for you exactly. I think this is going to be more really, really deep spiritual growth. Okay. And I would be looking for things like dream messages or going into silent retreat, messages that come through meditation, quiet walks in nature, that kind of thing. But the universe is going to be speaking to you. I am pretty darn sure of it. Libra, Jupiter is in your 11th house of friends, group identity, all of that. It's your tribe. So think about just getting deeper and more joyful and more spiritual within your friend group and any other groups that you identify with. You may find that you're making friends or joining groups right now, that you're expanding. I could especially see you joining like spiritual communities, right? Because there's such a spiritual component to this. I could also see you getting involved with group art kinds of things. Yeah, just a lot of stuff, but there's a group identity and there's expansion in that area. So I see you just like you're a people magnet. Neptune is over in your 7th house. You may find that one of those people that you magnetize has some, I don't know, maybe love potential there. Maybe for some of you. Scorpio, Jupiter is happening in your 10th house of career. So, Scorpio, and there's someone specifically that I'm talking to right now, a good friend of mine who is a Scorpio ascendant. And Scorpio, this is expansion in the career area. That's where Jupiter is. And the sun is coming over to be in rulership there. That is the spotlight on career. That's the star maker energy that I've talked about before. So I don't know what to say, but there you have it. I think at very least, y'all are going to be really growing and expanding, but it's going to come from you really being unique in how you do your work, creative and unique, because Neptune for you is in the 6th house of day-to-day work, right? So how you do your work, how you present yourself, all of that stuff, getting more creative about it. And Aries, it's Aries. Be uniquely you. And when you're presenting what you have to offer, however this is going to play out, be you. The more creatively and authentically you can show up as. I don't know how to make that sentence, but you get what I'm saying? Anyway, expansion in the area of career, blessings, spotlight, love it. Sagittarius, Jupiter is in your 9th house of spirituality, higher education, publication, all that kind of stuff, right? So blessings in any of those areas. Here's the cool thing about you. So you're another sign that I truly think this is going to have to do with living creatively. Artists, writers, musicians, actors, all you guys out there, this is a time when you can be a star. Sun's coming over to shine the spotlight on you. This is the house of publication, taking it public. Neptune is in your 5th house of creativity, right? So this is your art going out into the public, the spotlight shining on it. Now, for all of you who are not literal, artist and you're listening and you're Sagittarius, this could absolutely have to do with finding more wonder, getting more creative and playful about your spirituality and watching it bloom. I love it. I love it for all y'all. Okay, Capricorn. Jupiter is in your 8th house of joint finances, and Neptune's in your 4th house of home and family. This could have to do with creative ways of structuring your household finances so that they're blessed, right? And they increase investment opportunities with family, or that, the family fund where you and your spouse or your parents or whoever is your family, where you kind of pool your money. This could have a lot to do with really expanding your nest egg, whatever that means. The other thing it could have to do with, though, is really finding creative ways to heal family trauma. So I know that one doesn't sound quite as sexy and as exciting as some of the other ones, but it is, and it's profound because it's a very positive process with Jupiter trining Neptune. So it'll be a creative way, a spiritual way to do deep, deep healing of longstanding trauma. That could really be happening for y'all. It will be family-related trauma, though. That specifically. All right. Aquarius, Jupiter is in your 7th house. Ta-da! Love, one-on-one relationships. So, this one's pretty straightforward for you, Aquarius. It's blessings in that relationship area. If you're looking for a relationship, you may be finding one. If you're in one, it may be just feeling like it's very, very blessed. These are times, especially when the sun goes over, if you're thinking about marriage or, taking some next big step, that could definitely happen when Jupiter and the sun are both in that sign. Neptune is in your 3rd house of communication. So communicate from the heart. Neptune wants you to be deep, wants you to communicate from your soul. And I think you're going to find that your relationship it's blessed in whatever way yours needs to be blessed, right? Whether that's finding a new one, expanding and deepening, whatever it means for you. All right. Pisces. Jupiter is in your 6th house. This is day-to-day work. In other words, not what is your career, but how do you literally structure your day-to-day work life? It's also physical health. Now, I will give you the one little tiny warning that I give people with Jupiter, the greater benefic, who expands. Often when it's hitting one of my physical health areas, that's 1st house, your moon, or the 6th house, when I experience Jupiter there, I tend to put on weight. So I just want to let you know about that right now. So if you're having cravings and that sort of thing, fight them back, because with Jupiter there, I promise you will gain some weight. But anyway, I took off all the weight, so it's cool. But Jupiter in this house really means it's a good time to get creative in your work environment. If the work environment is more creative and more reflective of you and that spirit of wonder, you do better work in environments that are more engaging like that, right? That foster that childlike joy of getting to work. Think of kids when they're going to be like finger painting in kindergarten or wherever they finger paint now, and the table's all set up. And the teacher's like, all right, we're going to do our project now. And think about the joy on those faces as they look at those finger paints. It's that. It's like, set up your work environment so that you're that wide-eyed child who wants to smush their hands in the finger paints. The other thing is, this is really about getting creative with your physical health. So dance class, joining the gym. What's fun for you? What's a creative way to work on your physical health? For some of you, it could be studying herbalism because you love gardening, right? And it's a creative way to get healthier because of the gardening activity and also growing your own medicine through herbs. This could be like learning to surf. I don't know what it is for each of you. It'll be some creative idea around health and physical vitality. Think vitality because the sun's coming over and you'll have blessings there, Add some years to your life. Get creative and playful in how you approach your health. The reason I say add some years to your life is because Jupiter expands and increases. Get it? And also brings blessings. So I'm saying go for it, right? Neptune is in your second house of money and net worth, personal possessions, that kind of thing, your stuff. So you might find that you're really inspired by working out at home with stuff you already have, the garden you already have, whatever it is. Keep that in mind. But in general, I think it's just going to be about expanding health routines in a joyful, playful way. All right? All right, everybody. I know this went really long, and I hope for good reason. I hope because it was helpful. Thank you again for being here, sticking this through to the end. I am just so grateful. I know I always say it, but it's because I'm always that grateful, and I would love it if you would share the podcast. Anyway, that's all I got. For now, go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.